Now that Ghostbusters Afterlife has finally hit theaters, it's time to review the Ghostbusters Afterlife roleplay toys from Hasbro. Hey everybody and welcome to Geek Dad Life. It's your host, Jay Glatfelter here. Ghostbusters is my favorite film franchise of all time, and as such, I have been over the moon with all of the Ghostbusters Afterlife merchandise, and I have reviewed a ton of it. So if you like this video and want me to do more like it, hit the like button, and if you want to see when those episodes drop, click the subscribe button and that bell icon. So I have just been floating on cloud nine since Ghostbusters Afterlife hit theaters. I've already seen it twice. I'll probably have seen it 3 times by the time this video posts. And, you can check out, my full first reactions that I did with Ralph on Screen Geeks right here. But in short, I freaking love the movie. It was everything a Ghostbuster fan could want. It was a passing of the torch. It honored the original characters. And the new characters were awesome as well. Everything they added to the mythology I thought really worked. And one of those things was seeing the classic props from the original film show up in this one as well. And, we've known of these toys for a while. They've actually been on shelves now for a few months. But I kind of wanted to wait until I had seen the movie to really get a sense of, what these toys are representing for Ghostbusters Afterlife and kids that maybe want to play with toys from the film. I, for one, love the approach they've taken with the roleplay toys this go around, where kind of each thing is sold separately, so you can kind of pick and choose what you want and put together your kind of ultimate ghost busting kit. So the Neutron Wand is separate, as well as just the pack, the ghost whistle, and the PEK Meter. They all run about $15 or so, 10 to $15 depending on where you buy them. Now, I have seen most of these parts in Walmarts. I haven't really seen them at Target so much. But the actual pack itself, I have yet to see in any actual brick and mortar retailer. I had to buy this off of Amazon. So, I assume this will start showing up in normal retailers as well. But for some reason, it just has not yet. But everything else I have picked up from my local Walmart. The packaging carries over the motif that all of the Ghostbusters Afterlife figures have done so far. So you have the caution tape with the new Ghostbusters Afterlife logo, the red fin of the Ecto-1, as well as kind of a white and blue blueprint background. It's really simple though. It's just kind of there to hold the figure. In the case of the actual Proton pack, it's just a little tab to hang on to a peg in a retail store. So it's really, really simple. So, in terms of packaging, it's just really there to hold the toy. After that, it's really all about the actual toy itself. Starting with the Proton pack, it's from the front of it, or I guess the back of it, depending on your point of view. I think it looks great. I love the blue. I love the paint applications that are on it. It's pretty simple, but once you kind of put it on the side, it's super thin, and the actual inside is just kind of a hollowed out Proton pack. So it's a really simple plastic design. When you compare it to the vintage Proton pack, which was kind of just a blow mold pack, it is a lot thinner. And it doesn't have, I guess a front or a back, however you want to say it, like the vintage one has. Now, again, my kids don't care. So, I think Hasbro did this right because, for them, they just want to have the actual Proton pack. They want to have a place to put their Neutron Wand and maybe their PEK Meter or the Ghost Whistle. So for kids, they don't care. They think it looks great. And honestly, I think it looks great too. But it was just kind of shocking once I had it in hand how thin the thing was. So this one, out of all of them, maybe seems the least fleshed out in terms of features. But I still think it's awesome that we're getting a Proton pack that looks like the original movie Proton pack. And there's a nice little nod to the real Ghostbusters in that it's blue, much like those vintage toys. Moving on, we've got the Neutron Wand. This is a much smaller version than that deluxe one that we reviewed earlier on this channel. It's a lot smaller than that other one. But honestly, I kind of like this one a little bit better. It's simpler. It has a really neat little action feature when you twist the front grip here. It has a little kind of Neutrona beam coming out of it, and your kids can pretend that they're blasting ghosts. Again, between the two, the deluxe one and this one, my kids prefer the cheaper and, I think just a better play feature version of the Neutron Wand. This one also is able to easily connect to the pack if you buy both. So it attaches like that. I did find that when you do attach the Neutron Wand to the pack, it's a bit wobbly and doesn't really look that great when it's on it. I mean, the vintage one holds on pretty well and you can run around with it, not worry about it falling off. But the new one, it's super wobbly. I try to, stress test it to see if it would really fall off under a lot of use, and it hasn't yet. I think it is by design, though. It's trying to make it super easy for kids to put the wand back on the pack, and it really is. So if that was their strategy, I think it works, but it will just be a little bit more floppy than maybe you would expect the Neutron Wand to attach to the Proton pack. So I know what you're thinking, does the kind of deluxe Neutron Wand attach to this pack? It does not. I think that's a big miss. Maybe it'd be too heavy and it's kind of too big when you have it here on the pack, but that's kind of a bummer. This $30 Neutron Wand doesn't connect to this cheaper version of the toy. Moving along to the Ghost Whistle. Now, I'm going to put a very slight spoiler alert on this. This isn't going to spoil anything on the plot of the movie per se, but I've seen the film, and so I'm going to talk a little bit about, maybe how this thing does or does not feature in the actual movie. It's a very, very, very light spoiler, if you can even call it that. But the Ghost Whistle itself is a fun accessory. I know my kids really like it, but, in seeing the film, it may have been cut, but this thing is not in the movie. There is a whistle. It's an Aztec death whistle that is used in the film. So maybe this is inspired by that, and that's why they had it as a toy for kids to play with. Or maybe it was a scene that was cut from the film. We know there are scenes that didn't make it into the final cut of the film. Maybe we'll get the Reitman cut one day. So maybe Phoebe made an actual, more legit Ghostbusters version of the death whistle. But in the end, this is not something that we saw in the final product, the final film. But still, it's really fun. You kind of adjust this little dial right here to different sounds, and you can actually blow it. There's a little sensor in here, and you can blow it, and it will kind of make scary sounds that I assume is supposed to scare away ghosts. And it actually has a prominent place on the Proton pack to attach. It goes right in the back right there. And so considering this thing was never in the film, the fact that it's prominently featured here on this toy leads me to believe that maybe this was going to be something that would be in the film, but in the end, it wasn't. Maybe we'll get a director's cut where we'll see it, or maybe it's just a fun play feature that Hasbro decided to add to the pack. And last but not least, out of the roleplay toys, I'm going to end with my favorite one, which is the PKE Meter. It's about $15, and it just looks fantastic. I absolutely love this thing. I wish we would have had this as a kid because it just looks the part. It looks like a legit PKE meter, and it actually has electronics built into it. So if you flip up this little switch, it has like kind of 3 levels. So you have kind of like, maybe a more passive, PKE pickup that's found a ghost. And then you kind of go to the middle level, and then it kind of goes up to, again, this is going to be a slight spoiler to the film. So go ahead and skip ahead another minute if you haven't seen it yet. But it's kind of known that it then kind of goes into the ghost taser mode that was kind of shown in the film. I won't say when and or where, but it's kind of a neat new addition that Egon did to his PKE meter that was kind of a cool upgrade to the OG PKE meter. So I really love this thing. My kids love it as well. They've been running around like trying, zap ghosts and stuff like that. So I think all of the play features contained inside this little accessory. It looks like a legit PKE meter. It has all of the play value and features that you'd want if you've seen the movie. My kids came back from the movie and just been nonstop with this PKE meter. So, it may seem one of the simpler toys that they've done for the line so far, but it's definitely a favorite in this household. And say you're not a big fan of the Ghost Whistle, you're actually able to take, it off, and even though maybe it's not built for it, you can kind of still attach the PKE meter to this back little connector there as well. So, I think this thing has a lot of play value for the ability to attach different accessories to it. It's something we saw on the vintage one as well. What should you buy if you're a parent and your kids have fallen in love with Ghostbusters because of Ghostbusters Afterlife, or, the first 2 films as well? I think these are awesome pickups and definitely get the Geek Dad Life buy rating. There's something really special about, sharing something that I loved as a kid with my own kids. So many hours were spent pretending to be a Ghostbuster and wearing my Kenner Proton pack and using my Kenner PEK Meter and going around and pretending to bust ghosts. And it's so much fun to be able to do the same with my kids. And with this new set of ghost busting equipment, I can't thank Hasbro enough for giving me a chance to relive and share this experience with my own kids. So if this sounds like something you would love, then I think these are absolutely a must buy for any geek dad or geek mom that wants to share in the love of Ghostbusters. Definitely check out some of my other videos like this one that YouTube wants you to check out, as well as one of my more recent videos. And until next time, hasta luego and goodbye.